My name is Iris Thompson. Hello everybody, I'm TheRubber. Today we bring you SCP Foundation's Safe Class Object SCP-105. SCP-105, formerly known as Iris Thompson, is a female human of European descent, but born in Phoenix, Arizona. She is petite with long blonde hair and blue eyes. SCP-105-B is a Polaroid one-step express camera, manufactured in 1982. When 105 holds a photograph taken by 105-B, the photograph changes from a still image to that of a real-time image. 105 possessed the capability to reach through the photograph and manipulate objects within reach of the original point at which the photograph was taken. 105-B and the photographs it produces do not possess any unusual properties when operated by any other individual. 105 had demonstrated a limited ability to manipulate objects through other photographs, but can only achieve fine control using photographs taken through 105-B. 105 was brought to the Foundation's attention shortly after the murder of her boyfriend. 105 claimed to have been on the phone with him at the time of his murder, prompting her to hurry to his side. However, telephone records did not support or align with her story. With that, she became the primary suspect in his murder. 105 informed her lawyer that she had, in fact, witnessed the murder through a photograph she had taken with her boyfriend several days prior. The attorney in question disregarded the story and recommended that the subject plead guilty. 105 refused to do so and subsequently told her story in court, offering to demonstrate her ability. This led to her being immediately contained by the Foundation. 105 was the second humanoid SCP recruited to Mobile Task Force Omega-7 under the Pandora's Box initiative. Unlike Team Able, associated with SCP-076-2, which was assigned to strike and capture operations, Team Iris had the primary mission of reconnaissance and intelligence gathering. Team Iris carried out over 20 missions in cooperation with the Bow Commission, swiftly and without incident. The first disciplinary incident involving 105 involved the escalation of Team Iris missions from reconnaissance to wet work. 105 violently opposed the use of her abilities to carry out assassinations, even after members of the Bow Commission repeatedly attempted to secure her cooperation. During these events, 105 became emotionally distressed and attempted to deceive Foundation personnel into believing that her anomalous traits had disappeared. A Foundation professor submitted a report recommending that 105 be reclassified as neutralized. In addition, the report recommended that 105 should undergo amnestic treatment and be released to the public with regular monitoring. However, the recommendation was denied. Following this, all Mobile Task Force Omega-7 teams were disbanded, and 105 was implanted with a tracking device. 105 was housed at Site-17, while 105-B was contained in a locked safe deposit box at Site-19's high-value item storage facility. It had been 68 days since the guard posted to her door. Now was the time. She studied the picture closely. She remembered it as a photograph of Dr. Whitman and an unnamed secretary, lost to time and staffing reorganization, drunk in the manner that office workers always seem to reserve for Christmas parties. She recalled the bright yellow Level 3 staff-only sign that adorned many rooms in the facility, partially obscured by the Happy Holidays sign. Above this sign was a stained air vent. Without breathing, she looked at the photograph. It now featured only a door in a brightly lit corridor. No sign of Dr. Whitman and the insensate secretary remained, only the entrance to the Site-17 pharmacological dispensary. She smiled. Jackpot. 105 gingerly moved her hand into the photograph. As she neared the door's electronic keypad, she recited the mnemonic that she'd kept in her head for 2 months after overhearing a chance conversation in passing between two security techs. 4 years in Site-17. She touched 4 on the keypad. 15 dead in Operation Milk Run. She entered a 1 and a 5. 1 plus 0 plus 5 is 6. She entered a 6. The year of Mom and Dad's wedding. She entered an 8 and a 7. Attempt number... Upon entering the 3, a green light flashed above the door handle, and the deadbolt sharply clicked open. 105 pushed open the door. Barely distinct now, shelves laden with bottles, boxes, and plastic bags beckoned. Her elbow was now past the photograph's threshold, and she reached as far as she dared into the pharmacy. She noticed the designation on her fluorescent yellow tracking wristband, SCP-105. My name is Iris Thompson. And suddenly, the cement floor rose to meet her, silently and without feeling. She passed out on the floor. She awoke in a plush, high-backed chair. As her eyes adjusted to the dim light in the room, she noticed a grand piano in the far corner behind her. She uncomprehendingly took in her elegant surroundings, putting her hands to her face as if to reassure herself she still existed.
Please, there's no need to get up just yet.
Iris was startled by the voice behind her. As she turned, she saw an older, heavyset man with a mop of gray hair and a bushy white beard. He wore an orange jumpsuit, much the same as hers. The customary ID number, stenciled over the heart, read SCP-343. Something's not right. I'm in here, but I get the feeling I'm still in Site 17. Are you that guy that the guards talk about? The one everyone wants to go visit? If you're him, I can't understand why you didn't just pop me into your cell to talk to me earlier. Dale scratched his beard.
It's not quite as simple as that. I perceive many things, Iris. What appears to the staff here as parlor tricks and miracles is merely movement in other forms.
She poured herself a glass of water. What, like other dimensions? Dale pulled a slightly sour-looking face.
I dislike that term. It makes me sound like a horrible Flash Gordon villain. But yes, I move in worlds stacked on top of this one, as do you, though you don't know that yet.
She considered Dale carefully. What don't I know yet?
The old man leaned closer. You poor girl, many things. The good news is that you are no mere curiosity with a penchant for photography. That parlor trick is just that, a trick.
Dale turned back towards her.
Have you ever considered that looking at pictures was simply a focal point? Perhaps it was just a way to wrap your mind around something that, in your world, should not be?
She opened her mouth to answer.
No, surely not.
You are something far more otherworldly and dangerous than they suspect. The potential you have to wreak changes on the realms around you is far in excess of what could be expected by man or God. However, your mind, or what will become of your mind, or what's left of it, is ill-suited to such circumstances. Whatever fills this wonderful little facility with invisible treasures seems to have seen fit to play a particularly complex joke on you. Whatever you started out as, you are far less human than they suspect, than you yourself suspect. Her face turned red. Her hands balled up into fists. That's not what it's like. Everyone suspects, but I'm the only one who really knows. And none of you ever ask me. They rather run their tests, write their reports, and then go home like it doesn't matter. Tears came to her eyes as she turned to face the old man. Why am I here with you, anyway? I never did anything to anyone. I even helped them with that psycho with the tattoos. Less than human, you don't know me. She buried her face in her hands, ashamed and once again unable to control the situation. I'm not like the rest of you. I can choose to be more than that. Dale pulled himself up to his full height. Your presence here has inspired a need for forgiveness that even hard people like the Foundation require. Due to what you are, there was little danger of you fully accomplishing what you set out to do. But you've managed to really hurt yourself this time. You've triggered something. What you have done is set events in motion far more than a single death could have accomplished. You, the Foundation, and even I are all about to be freed from the illusion of control that shackles each and every... A beeping sound came from the old man's wrist. He checked his Casio digital watch. Ah, my manners. Time's up. With that, he snapped his fingers. And in an instant, Iris awoke in a hospital bed. Because of the security risk she represents and lack of current utility, SCP-105 is no longer allowed access to SCP-105-B. After its impact, an event occurred, which damaged a city extensively with large quantities of an anomalous mucus secretion. Furthermore, it left more than 1,300 dead. Hello everybody, I'm TheRubber. Today, we bring you SCP Foundation Thaumiel Class Object SCP-179. SCP-179, also known as Sauelsuesor, is a 30-year-old female humanoid entity located at a distance of approximately 40,000 kilometers from the south polar region of the Sun. In addition, the entity is locked to the rotation axis of the Sun. However, it does not orbit. The most recent recordings of 179 indicate that it seems to maintain a continuous orbit around the center of the galaxy. SCP-179's entire bodily surface is covered in or composed of a matte black material. Its hair appears to be composed of this material as well. The entity's hair itself measures over 34 kilometers long. However, unlike other parts of her body, 179's hair seems to reflect variable amounts of sunlight. Several markings or tattoos are placed throughout its bodily midline. Judging from their brightness, these markings might be of metallic composition and of a golden hue. These tattoos include several alchemy symbols that have been identified as those typically representing the Sun and the 6 innermost planets of the solar system. The symbol of gold on 179's forehead, which can be found right underneath the hairline, most clearly resembles the Sun. The symbol of Mercury can be seen under her nose. Circling both lips represent Mercury, the smallest and closest planet to the Sun. The shape of a human heart is placed over the location where a heart would be in a female human. This symbol likely stands for the planet Earth. The most recorded movements performed by 179 have been related to extraterrestrial threats, both anomalous or non-anomalous in nature, on a collision or orbital insertion course with the Earth. These threatening items have been identified as capable of causing CK-class reconfiguration events with a varying degree of impact on human societies and earthly life in general if allowed to reach Earth. If impact with Earth or orbital insertion occurs without the proper response and containment by Foundation operatives, these items of interest may be capable of causing XK-class end-of-the-world scenarios. The first recorded movement of SCP-179 occurred on the 13th of December, 1940. The entity that had remained with both arms crossed raised an arm towards a previously undetected interplanetary object on a collision course with Earth. After its impact, an event occurred which damaged a city extensively with large quantities of an anomalous mucus secretion. Furthermore, it left more than 1,300 dead. The central item of the object was then classified as an SCP entity. After that, 179 returned to its original position. SCP-179 will usually address an item or items of interest by pointing at them with an arm. And when more than one item of interest is present, 179 will be able to generate additional limbs anatomically identical to its arms as needed. All items of interest approaching Earth within cis-Neptunian space that had considerable destructive capacity have been detected by SCP-179 without failure, often when no observers known to the Foundation were aware of them. As such, 179 and all personnel, orbital equipment, and facilities dedicated to its surveillance remain the most reliable early warning system the Foundation possesses in regards to detection. When possible, this early warning system helps to prevent potentially dangerous incursions within surveyed space. SCP-179 is able to determine which interplanetary objects pose a threat to Earth, humankind, or the earthly biosphere. which makes it a critical asset for the Foundation. All data of interest related to or obtained through 179 will be considered high-priority information to all Foundation departments. 179 is sensitive to all radiation in the electromagnetic spectrum. In addition, it is quite intelligent and possesses the ability to communicate through multiple anomalous means. Only one instance of SCP-179 communication with Foundation personnel has occurred thus far, where 179 proved to be fluent in French. On the 16th of October 2003, after 487 recorded movements of 179, she was first approached by a microsatellite equipped with multiple recording, analysis, and communications devices. Contact and communication with 179 was not foreseen nor intended. When visual contact with 179 was established, the entity began to move its lips, forming the phonemes of a greeting in spoken French. What follows is a complete translation of the contact. "Hello, I'm the lookout. My name is Sauelsuesor. Do you like my brother? I like him too. He is big, and so very warm. If you want to talk to me, please use your satellite to weave talk to me. It'll be easier than coming here, probably." Thomas Graham, who is fluent in French, is selected by the head researcher to conduct communications with 179. The satellite is used as a radio relay from this point onward. 179 is able to receive, understand, and transmit radio communications. "Who are you?" "My name is Sauelsuesor. I am the lookout. I behold. I often see. I often warn. Almost always when I have to. That way, there is further life." "What do you mean, the lookout?" "It's me. We have noticed the significance of your movements. Who do you report to?" "To those who know where to look. To you. To those who want to look. Not just you, but you too." "When you say brother, are you referring to the sun?" "He is my brother, Saul. He warms me up. He is caring, fire, and loving light. He caresses me with his arcs and his voice. He renews me. He is the source of all true light. He is your source." "Where do you come from?" "I was born a child." "For how long have you been in your current location?" "I do not want to tell you." 179 smiles and adopts a fetus position, remains looking towards the earth. "How did you reach your current position? How did you acquire the properties you currently possess?" "I was grown into a woman. This is how I live now." "Could you give us further details, please?" "No." "We would like to know more about you. Why not tell us?" "I am sorry. I won't be yours. I can't belong to anyone." The Foundation's work protects all of humanity, all life on Earth. Don't you find this work of the greatest importance? "Yes, I am doing it. Look upon me and know." If we have understood your capacities correctly, we believe you could do far more than that. Sharing all the information you have, not just about the dangerous threats against humankind and Earth, could be of great benefit to all parts involved. "I am too big, and you are too small. There is a sea of nothing and islands of light. I am their shore. To you come the monster, the pounding fists of void, the longing gods beyond our knowledge. I am the lookout. I see the ripples in their wake. You want me to pledge my sight no to you, only to you. So you, only you, can be greater. Even if you find, restrain, and defend, you want me to be yours. That is not why I am here. There are others. Others I assist. Others I warn. Others beyond your thin walls of gray, dry paste rock. Others beyond the reach of your weary satellites. Others beyond the home, our home. Others I know. Others I love. Others you won't care for. Others that came before. And overall, others beyond the little walls of rules and bone and laws and flesh and memories and oaths you build around yourselves until you don't even remember them. Others I love dearly, and yet only my brother is an equal to me. Excuse me, I don't understand what you mean by others. Could you please explain yourself with other words? But I have no words left. But 179 stopped communicating with researcher Graham. Despite several communication attempts, 179 did not perform any other movements nor transmit other messages. Up to this date, 179 has not responded to any message coming from any Foundation contact team or any other known groups. After this, 179 had been reclassified from safe to Thamiel. He ran away from the scene, but he couldn't get far. He knew that he had heard the word and she was coming for him. He had his gun pointed towards the door, the only entry to the room. Calm down, you got this. She's nothing but flesh and bone. She can be killed, he thought to himself as his shaky hands held the rifle, his whole body tense, ready to squeeze the trigger at the sight of her. Suddenly, he felt a touch on his shoulder. He screamed and fired blindly as he turned around, but none of the bullets seemed to hit her. She walked towards him, grabbed at his upper jaw and mandible, then with both hands snapped his mouth open in one swift motion. Back at the canteen, Sam Cooper was still recovering from the shock. He uttered a word, which immediately brought her back in front of him. He looked up to her. She said, "Now are you going to kill me?" Hello everybody, I'm TheRubber. Today we bring you a SCP Foundation Euclid class object SCP-5351. SCP-5351, also known as the Witch of Words, is a humanoid entity superficially resembling a young woman of Slavic descent. Despite its human appearance, 5351 has demonstrated a number of anomalous capabilities. Most conspicuous is the ability to appear in the immediate vicinity of individuals who repeated the exact statements made by her, causing her to rage and murder them for stealing her words. Not just this, but after killing the individual who reproduced their words, 5351 would also kill anyone in the immediate vicinity who heard the statement. This transcends the influence of 5351 to an unimaginable extent. 5351 has also demonstrated the capacity to exert physical strength significantly beyond human limits, often mauling humans to death with her bare hands over the course of several seconds. Although all of 5351's activities are recorded under constant video surveillance, however, no audio surveillance or recording is to take place to avoid any unfortunate incident. No statements made by 5351 are to be transcribed, whether made during interviews or otherwise. All personnel are not to, quote, repeat any phrases or non-standard terminology used by 5351. Any event in which 5351's words are reproduced by an external source in this way is to be considered an immediate containment breach. During his exploration of the village, traveler Leif Ilian came across a young woman standing right in front of him and gawking deep into his eyes. A chill went down his spine when he heard the woman speak. He immediately gestured her to shut up, but she didn't. After judging her outlook for a while, Leif took a guess that she must have been yet another traveler who did not know the strict rules of no speech of the village. He then politely asked the woman, "Hey, don't worry. I am like you, a traveler, exploring the decade-old folklores of such cultures." The woman did not flinch, as if deadened by his words. The woman then proceeded to speak. She told him that she was the witch of the tales he had been hearing and does not wish to bring him harm. And it took Leif no time to burst out in a huge laugh. "Sure, you are the witch, and I am the king of this jungle." After he mocked her, he noticed a shift in the woman's energy when he repeated her words. The woman then said in a loud and strict manner, "I can show you what I can do." And in a jiffy, the total ambiance around them started to change rapidly. As the woman gestured her hands up, out grew the odd plants from the sides of where Leif was standing. The bone-chilling encounter with something not humanly possible didn't help Leif stand for long, and soon he fell unconscious. He was rescued by the villagers who detained him after he told them about his encounter with the witch. After several tactics, Leif finally freed himself and ran from the village. The Foundation soon caught wind of Leif's encounter with the potentially anomalous entity. and so MTF Zeta-19 was dispatched to investigate. Upon investigation, the villagers revealed that all of them have had their tongues removed at an early age, preventing speech. The questioned elders claimed through writing that this was the result of a traditional coming-of-age ceremony, intended to prevent the Maiden of the Woods from attacking the village for reproducing or stealing her words. After inquiring about the location, the MTF Zeta-19 then proceeded to a cabin in the dense forest where the said maiden had made her home, and promptly restrained her. She was then transferred to a humanoid containment chamber located at Site 22. To further understand the anomalous nature and strength of 5351, the Foundation decided to conduct several interviews with the help of junior researcher Sam Cooper. To improve engagement between them, Sam handed her a pencil and a paper so 5351 could record questions she wished to question Sam. She took great fascination towards the pencil she was given. She told Sam that her wrath and intolerance at the iteration of its words was justified by the fact that words belong only to her. Therefore, those words cannot exist in a space without her also existing there, which seemed to be the logic behind her ability to translocate to wherever the words were reiterated. The mindfulness of young Sam Cooper and his ability to understand the 5351 behavior over the sessions not just coaxed affinity from her, it also established a rapport between the two over time. In one of the interviews about the village, Sam Cooper was handed an oak leaf by 5351. When inquired about why she gave her an oak leaf, 5351 said it wasn't an oak leaf, but rather a spike of her. After leaving the interview, when Sam disclosed the little gesture of gratitude made by 5351 to head researcher Scott Abrams, the incident was considered an immediate containment breach, and Sam was suspended for a week. After his return, Sam was somewhat infuriated by the whole idea of how absurd the whole case was. To Sam, this seemed a non-serious foul play, and he went on to discuss with his colleagues on lunch break. While discussing the reason for his suspension with colleagues Lindsay and Jonathan, Sam mocked the whole scenario of the interview. He scornfully mentioned how 5351 had handed over an oak leaf, which was not an oak leaf to her, rather a spike of her. All three started laughing at the unknown meaning behind the word. However, foolishly, Jonathan went a step ahead and bravely inquired, "But what the hell is a anyway?" It was about seconds that a loud cracking noise was heard, and out of thin air appeared 5351. Enraged and furious, it only took her 10 seconds to tear out Lindsay's jugular with its teeth and disembowel Jonathan. Taken by the moment of bloodshed and the dead bodies of his co-workers lying motionless on the floor, Sam seemingly had his fate decided. But she only turned around slowly, with blood splattered all over her, and curtsied towards Sam. The alarm blared, the shutters dropped shut, the canteen was on lockdown. You didn't have to kill them," Sam cried hopelessly. And after getting a hold of reality, only then Sam realized that it was far more serious than he considered it to be. Sam winced as 5351 puts her hand on his head and calmed him down. But the deed was done. "Why am I still alive?" No, stop saying that. You don't. It was just a pencil, and it was just a word. It was just a freaking... A loud bang went off as the security team breached the canteen and surrounded the two of them, their weapons trained on 5351. But Sam had not recovered from the shock. Before he could gather what was happening, he couldn't stop his yelling at 5351. It was just a freaking V-knock! Upon Sam's proclamation of the word, 5351 suddenly tightened her grip. Sam realized what he had done, but it was too late to stop her now. "Wait, what are you going to do?" No, please no. Oh God. "Hands on your head." I said hands on your head. Wait. 352 will first remove and eat the limbs of her prey to prevent it from wandering away, and then take several days to fully devour the rest of it. Humans have been observed to still be in a euphoric state and have no knowledge of the outside world, even as they suffer the loss of limbs and other bodily tissue. Hello everybody, I'm TheRubber. Today we bring you SCP Foundation Keter Class Object SCP-352. SCP-352, also known as Baba Yaga, appears to be an incredibly old, emaciated woman of indeterminate age and race. 352 speaks Old Russian, but with an accent and dialect that makes it even harder to understand and translate. 352 usually does not converse with any of the members of the SCP Foundation, but when she does, her words come off as threats of revenge or bodily harm. 352 has never identified herself by any name, and due to her aggressive nature, it has been impossible to determine any background information. SCP-352 possesses a level of strength and speed much higher than what should be possible for a person of her perceived age and physical dimensions, and has been shown moving loads in excess of 200 kilograms with little physical strain, and moving at speeds in excess of 70 kilometers per hour. 352 can recover from wounds that would be lethal to a human being, including decapitation and disemboweling. This regeneration can take between several days to several weeks, depending on severity. Internally, 352 appears to be a normal human woman, with muscles, bones, and organs in a state consistent with her advanced age. SCP-352 is capable of growing very thin, hair-like strands from any part of her body, apparently at will. These strands can grow several meters in an hour, and appear to be at least partially under the control of 352. They have been observed crawling along floors and up walls and other structures. These hairs are clear and nearly invisible to the naked eye, and appear to be slightly weaker than standard human hair. The strands are also coated in a thin layer of chemical enzyme identical to the enzyme in the saliva of 352. SCP-352 produces an enzyme that is most concentrated in the saliva and hair, but is present in all bodily tissues of 352. How it is produced and its exact chemical makeup are unknown. This enzyme reacts when contact with human tissue and rapidly attacks the nervous system. Anyone who comes into contact with the enzyme will experience symptoms almost immediately, which include hallucinations, euphoria, suppression of cognitive or logical thinking, and suppression of pain receptors. This state will persist for several days if the exposure to the enzyme is mild, and can become permanent with high exposure. Unfortunately, bites from 352 will lead to high exposure in 99.9% of cases. SCP-352 appears to subsist on a carnivorous diet, with a strong preference for human flesh. 352 will create a web of hair and wait for prey to become exposed to the enzyme and become more docile. Once she has her prey within her grasp, 352 will first remove and eat the limbs of her prey to prevent it from wandering away, and then take several days to fully devour the rest of it. Humans have been observed to still be in a euphoric state and have no knowledge of the outside world, even as they suffer the loss of limbs and other bodily tissue. SCP-352 prefers any type of human flesh over any other type of meat. While 352 kills and eats any human that she comes across, she prefers to feed on children between the ages of 0 to 2. After observation of 352 highly elevated levels of cooperation and a reduced tendency to attack staff while consuming flesh of this type, a possible alteration in the current diet is being considered. Personnel who works at 352's containment site requested the use of SCP-604 and SCP-1680 as a more efficient food source for 352. SCP-604 is a set of tableware and dishes. Some are studded with diamonds and rubies, and some are made from fine materials such as porcelain and crystal. Whenever an edible solid is placed onto one of the plates or a liquid is poured into one of the drink vessels, the food will transform into human flesh, or the nearest equivalent organ, body part, or fluid. For example, fleshy steaks will turn into cuts from the thigh, and red wine or juices into human blood. If 604 is used as 352's food source, there is no need to sacrifice innocent human infants. On the other hand, SCP-1680 is a collection of identical humanoid entities. Through genetic testing, 1680 has been determined to be an exact replica of Tyler Buchanan, An 8-year-old boy declared missing on the 11th of February 2007. Instances of 1680 are 137 centimeters in height and 38.5 kilograms in mass upon acquisition. Each instance of SCP-1680 believes itself to be Tyler Buchanan and possesses identical memories up to the day of his disappearance. Genetic testing has concluded that each instance is genetically identical to one another and to the original Tyler Buchanan. Each instance of 1680 demonstrates extreme emotional distress when exposed to other copies of 1680. However, due to unknown reason, the request for using 604 and 1680 is currently still pending for approval from the project director. SCP-352 was discovered in a southern Russian town. Reports of an enchanted forest and a witch who had caused several deaths were initially ignored, until reports of the witch being found and captured began to surface. When Foundation agents responded and headed out to investigate, the town was found deserted. Several bodies were found in varying states of decomposition, and blood trails appeared to show many more bodies being dragged into the enchanted forest. The Foundation agents were able to capture 352, but they had suffered major casualties due to SCP-352's attack and exposure to the enzyme. A large amount of hair was recovered as well, and is believed to be the cause of many exposure incidents, with contact being attributed to spiderwebs or an agent's own hair, and not reported until hallucinations manifested. After the successful capture of 352, this old lady was then put into a containment area that is to remain sealed at all times. No human interaction is allowed with 352. All interaction should be carried out via robot or other remote means. If human interaction become necessary, full hazmat containment protocol should be observed, and full hazmat suit should be worn at all times. In addition, security lines must be attached to all personnel. Should any personnel begin to exhibit erratic behavior, they are to be immediately removed from the containment area via the security lines. Any staff reporting hallucinations after interaction with 352 or her hair are to immediately be placed under quarantine. Any staff working in or around the containment area must submit to random psychological and physical testing. Anyone found to be contaminated will be placed into immediate quarantine. Staff attacked by SCP-352 may only be recovered if they have not been bitten by 352. 352 is to be fed only once a week. Feeding will be discontinued for 1 month if 352 attacks any personnel. Although 352's containment area is always sealed, but one time, SCP-3783-1 instances managed to break in, and 2 of which had interacted with SCP-352. SCP-3783-1 instances are mutated biological organisms after entering SCP-3783. 3783 is a single-roomed log cabin that is located in the wilderness of Siberia. Inside it is decorated with furs, has 1 rocking chair, a fireplace, a wardrobe, a chest, and a cauldron. It has 2 windows on the sides and a single wooden door allowing for entry. There were rumors saying that 3783 is 352's cottage, hence the interaction between 3783-1 instances and 352 was very peaceful and strangely loving. The following transcript is from surveillance footage. Begin log. SCP-352 is sitting at the corner of its containment chamber. After 40 seconds, a vent that led into the chamber suddenly burst open, which 2 3783-1 instances crawl out of. Simultaneously, other 3783-1 instances were attacking from Gate A. One instance resembled a gastropod with 2 arm-like appendages. It quickly moves to the door, and a bulbous sac on its back began to expand and bursts, covering the door with a thick mucus. The second instance was feline and resembled a bearded dragon, which moves towards SCP-352. The instance had in its mouth what appears to be a human fetus, which it places on the floor in front of SCP-352. SCP-352 reaches for the fetus and begins to devour it. SCP-352 then pats the instance's head. The instance and SCP-352 appear to briefly converse, before SCP-352 stands and moves towards the instance. SCP-352 kneels down and appears to whisper to the instance. Instance then nods its head and returns into the vent, as SCP-352 stands idly while facing the camera for the remainder of the footage. End log. The instance was later found at Provisional Site 78 within SCP-3783's chamber. It was found deceased in front of SCP-3783 and was buried in a clump of dirt.
We hope you enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to click like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell. Have a favorite SCP you want to see on this channel? Leave us your suggestions in the comments down below. In the meantime, if you'd like to see more SCP content, then check out some of our other videos right here. As always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in our next video. Bye-bye!